Hey y'all, welcome to Rich Aesthetic. I'm Rich, and let's take a look at what's new in iOS 17.
I must have watched this like 30, 40, 50 times by now. I meant to say, what's new with voice messages in iOS 17? All right, let's get back to it.
If you didn't remember, back in iOS 16, Apple not only made voice message better, but also worse, kind of at the same time. For example, they changed the voice message button to a dictation button, and then it stayed as a dictation button, and then voice messages became kind of like an iMessage app. Now, you'll be very happy to know that voice messages are much, much improved in iOS 17, and not just the UI, but also the functionality. Starting with this adaptive voice input button. Now, I don't know if that's the official name for this or not, but that little dictation button is now adaptive, as I said in the name. Now, by default, it is the dictation button. So if you want to send a message, you can type it out, you can dictate it with that button. Or you can dictate it with the dictation button in the keyboard. Fine. But if you hit the plus button and then go to voice messages, then you record your message and then send it, you'll notice that now there's this red waveform in the message composer. And that button is now a voice message button. Now, in my testing, this will now stay as a voice message as long as you are sending voice messages or text messages without dictating the text message. But as soon as you use the dictation as a voice input method, that button now adapts back to being a dictation button. This makes things faster all around. Now, I know some of you may argue but there's a dictation button in the keyboard. Yeah, that's fair. But the thing is, by having the dictation button in line with the message composer, if the keyboard's ever not open, it is technically faster to start the dictation by tapping on that dictation button. And the fact that now it's adaptive to have both voice inputs easily accessible depending on what it is that you're using at any given time makes things better, I think, for everyone. Now, I am going to leave a comment on this video if my findings with this specific adaptive voice input button changes. So while I'm down there writing that comment, I hope you guys have left a comment, and if you like videos like this, consider hitting that like button and tap subscribe for more videos like this. Alright, next, let's take a look at what's brand new with voice messages in iOS 17. So first off, after you send a voice message, it will auto-transcribe. Now, currently the behavior here is a little bit funny. I can't tell if it's only transcribing messages from iOS 17 devices because I don't have any friends who are running iOS 17. So I've had my girlfriend who's on iOS 16 send me some voice messages and they do not transcribe. But any voice messages that I send, they do transcribe. So it seems to be tied to the device that is actually recording the message. But that's just currently. The other thing is, as you can see here, some of the messages actually don't transcribe and they're all sent from myself. So I don't know if there's something dictating whether it should transcribe or not. Maybe if it believes the transcription is, like a failure, then it just doesn't show it. I thought it might be something to do with time, but I sent a short 2-second message, a longer 5-second message, and then an even longer 10-second message, and all three of those did transcribe. So I'm not confident that it has anything to do with the time of the message. Now, another new behavior is when you tap and drag a voice message to the composer, it'll actually, in iOS 17, open up the new audio message recording view, which is gorgeous. It closes the keyboard because you don't need it, you're recording your voice, and then it has the waveform and everything right there for you to play and send the message or delete it. Now, interestingly enough, there's a plus button next to the time, and if you actually tap on that time, that little oval shaped icon or rounded rectangle shaped icon, it'll actually allow you to append to the message. Now, currently, that crashes the Messages app. So it might just be speculation. I'm not sure if you're actually going to be able to edit or add on to other recordings that you've already sent or that you have been received. But if you record a new message, that time is all there. It's all the same UI. And then if you do hit the plus button, it does allow you to append a longer message to that original recording as you haven't sent it yet. So yeah, again, I'm not sure if that's going to be a feature or not. Also, in that new view, you can scrub through and hit play and all that to listen back to your message and see if it's worth it to have to re-record it or not. Currently, you cannot cut out middle of a voice message. So, yeah. Lastly, let's look at the improvements with voice messages in iOS 17. So if you didn't know, in iOS 16 you could actually long press on a voice message and then hit save. Now, once you hit save, there was no indication of where to save to, or it didn't even give you an option of where to save. Now the save button has been renamed to Save to Voice Memos. Now that's what it always did in iOS 16, but to be honest, I didn't even discover the save button in iOS 16, so I don't even know if it was there already in iOS 15, but now it's just much clearer as to where it is, and I think this is really cool because it'll allow you to, save memories more easily, and then also you can rename those files to give some context as to what it was about or who sent it, and also in voice memos you can have folders, so you can then reorganize them, so you can really have a memory collection of tidbits, of voice memo tidbits, which I think is going to be great, especially if you have any family members who have passed away and you have messages from them. Also, when you're scrubbing through messages that you've already been sent, it no longer does the audio skim that in iOS 16, that's what the behavior was, kind of like in Final Cut. You have the option to turn on and off audio skimming. Now, I don't really like that. I don't see how it's useful. So in iOS 17, it's just a quiet scrub. Also, I never covered this in my last year iOS 16, what's new in voice messages video, but you can tap anywhere on the voice message to make it play. You can also do one like this. Also, when you long press on a voice message in iOS 16, it opens up this minimized Files app audio file view, which if you tap on will open up the Files app audio file view. That is gone in iOS 17. Both of those views are gone, and it's much better in my opinion because it does make tapbacks more reachable. Currently in iOS 16 you have to tap all the way at the top of your screen, which if you have a Pro Max device or even a Pro device for some people makes it really hard to reach. And yeah, I don't know if that Files app audio file view will come back or not, but as of beta 1 that is gone. Alright, so that's everything that I found or figured out with voice messages in iOS 17. Let me know if you found any other changes, leave a comment down below on that. And while you're down there, again, consider subscribing and tapping that like button if you want more videos like this. And also, you can then check out my next video, which is going to be on what I think are the most fun features of iOS 17, because there are a lot of cool UI improvements that are just a lot more fun. Alright, until the next one, Rich Aesthetic out. Peace.